Okay, so this is the 15th video in the series explaining how I set up Microsoft Flight Simulator with a Stream Deck and a MIDI controller. And this one's going to look at using the Stream Deck to program the primary flight display, the buttons on the display. So let's have a close-up look at the actual instrument itself. And what we're going to look at are mostly these buttons here, but we can probably program these in as well. I haven't put those on anything yet. The ones that are on the main flight display I've put onto my X-Touch Mini, but I haven't used these, so we've probably got space to put those on. So it's these buttons here that we want to have a look at. A quick look at the structure. 12 buttons across the bottom here. Some of them just have an immediate effect, so if we click on there it toggles a display on and off, but some of them lead us into a submenu. So if we click on PFD here, the functions of the buttons have changed, and exactly the same here, that some of these act immediately, toggling things on and off, but some of them lead to submenus. And we'll look at the structure of that in more detail in a while. And there's a back button that winds us back up through the menu system back to this main starting point. So if we were going to program those in, we really need to have a look at X's and O's. So if we bring that in, what we would normally do is use the scripting area here and ask it to watch the simulator events. Now we've seen this one here before of the light potentiometer being constantly polled and set, so we'll ignore that, we'll take that out of the system. So we're just watching what happens when I press these buttons here. So let's press the OBS button, and that sets the OBS, so that looks like that's happening. If I press PFD, let's clear the list, the back button, PFD, wind, absolutely nothing seems to happen with these buttons here. Press back. So there's something happening that we can't see, and that's because this is a relatively new instrument and it's based on the HTML variables, AH variables, and they don't get spotted by these events here. So we're going to have to look at a different method of programming those in. So let's get rid of that for the moment and bring up X's and O's, and let's assume that we were going to try and allocate this button to something else. We know it's the AS1000 and it's the PFD that we're looking for, so let's try filtering for that. So the 1000 PFD filter, and we'll apply that filter, HTML variable, and this is where we've got buttons like the Direct To button, which is part of the little bank of 6 that I was going to allocate. But down here we've got these things called the softkeys, and the softkeys 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and those are the 12 that are along the bottom. So that's what I want to grab and put in. So let's highlight that, right hand click so it's copied, and we can allocate that on the Stream Deck later. So let's close this down just so we've got control again. Let's bring up my Stream Deck so you can see my actual Stream Deck in the top right hand corner. So these buttons here are just soft keys labelled 1 to 12, and it doesn't matter which area we're in, it's always transmitting 1 to 12. So even if I go into a submenu here, that will still be hotkey 1, 2, 3, sorry, soft key 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 12. Does that make sense? Okay, I said I'd have a quick look at the structure here so you can see what's going on. So that first one there, all these buttons here do something if they've got a label above, and let's have a look at what happens if we press that Inset button. If we press that Inset button, that takes us to a menu here which only has immediate effect buttons and the back button. So clicking on that button, back button will take us back here again. If we click on the PFD button, that opens up this set of options. Some of them are direct actions, but some of them lead us down to a sub menu. So that one takes us down to here with the back button. That one takes us down to this level here, again immediate effect buttons and a back, and this one here takes us to this one here, changing the HSI format. Clicking back brings us back. So if we write down the depths here, back, and we're back to the top again. And the last one is your transponder. So click on transponder, takes us to this menu. If we want to put a code in, we click on here, put the code in, back, and up. So that's the kind of the hierarchy that we've got. And I've tried to draw a diagram here using, for the first time, I've tried to use the a function in PowerPoint, but it's pretty messy. But anyway, this is the hierarchy. The main has got 3 sub-menus. It's got lots of other buttons that work directly, but these are the sub-menu buttons, the structure we need. And then the PFD has 3 sub-menus, and this has 1 sub-menu. So that's really what we're after. Okay, let's go back and see how we're going to do this. So obviously I need my Stream Deck software up. There are a couple of different ways of doing it. This is a fairly quick and easy way of doing it. That we could create a folder. So click on the folder, the display will change, and then we've got a whole set of sub buttons that we can use. So let's try that. So it's create the folder, and let's put a title on it, PFD. I won't change the icon at the moment so that we know that we're dealing with a folder. So if I press on here, we will go into the folder, which is completely blank at the moment because there is nothing being allocated except for the back button. So clicking on that button there takes us back out again. So into the folder, and I'm going to create the 12 buttons that are along the bottom here. There's only 8 across here, so I'm going to do 6 and 6. Okay, so it's an Axis and O event that we're going to put into here, and it is an H variable. It's one of the HTML variables, and I did capture that before. So there it is. It's a soft key number 1 that's going in there. It's going to send a 1 by default, and I have actually got some graphics that I've been playing with, and I took a screenshot of the button so I can drop that in there. So so it looks like the button, and we'll submit that. Now I want 6 across here and 6 across here, and the quickest way to do that is to use some keyboard shortcuts. Control C to copy that, arrow key to move across, and paste. There's 6 there, and then we just come along the bottom here. So they're all going to be soft key 1 for the moment, so let's go in and just edit those all the way across. And of course I've got to remember, there's the gotcha every time. Unfortunately we have to scroll down for the submit. So what I'll do is I will go along here, do these, but I'll edit that out. So trust me, that's what we're doing. Okay, so I've saved you the bother of watching me copying lots of keys. But let's just double check them all now. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So all the keys are allocated with their numbers. So let's just watch it in action. So if I press, there's nothing on the first button. The second button takes me to the Inset, and that's okay. So I can turn the Inset off. Back to the Inset again. I can turn it back on again. So I've got control here, and it's the button number 11 is to take me back. So that's kind of working, that's fine. Let's have a look at the PFD. So that's button number 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So PFD. Now I need to let's change the wind allocation. So that's button 1, 2, 3, and I can have option 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Option 5 is on, and that's displaying that there. And we can click the back icon, which is number 11, and back again. So that works, and if that's all you want to do, that works fine. But I find that quite clumsy because there's no markings on here, and we can't change the markings as we move from one to the other in this format. So marking them on here is just not feasible, and so it means when you're flying, you're counting across constantly. It's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and counting on here. So I don't like that very much. So what I want to do is to actually put some labels on it. So this, we're back up at the top level here. We're back here on the main, and I'm going to just look at labelling a couple of buttons and try to take us down from the main down to, say, the PDF and back again. So let's see if we can make that work using the folder system. So if I bring back my Stream Deck software, obviously I can label these up quite happily. So nothing on the first one. This one here has Inset written on it. That's that one there. This one here has, next one has nothing. This one here has PFD, so I'll label that one up as PFD. Interesting, you don't need to press submit for these text for entries. It's only for the programming elements that you're putting in. Okay, so I want the PFD to take us to another folder to open up all the options that are there if I press PFD. If I press PFD, I want that to come up. Let's go back. So if I press on PFD here, actually on the Stream Deck itself, that's worked here on the screen perfectly well, but on the Stream Deck, if I put the actual Stream Deck, it hasn't moved us at all. We're still where we were on that first one, where it had the Inset and then the PFD and all the other buttons I haven't actually marked up. So that hasn't changed. So what I would like to happen is it to send the soft key number 4 to here, but also to take me to a folder. So I want that to do two things. So it looks like this should be a multi-action, and in fact if I right hand click on that, it says move it to a multi-action. So it's made this now a multi-action button, and it's got the sender 4, but the folder option is gone. So you can't have switch to a folder and another event on the same button. It's just not possible. If I go to here, that's just an ordinary button, and you can see that create folder is an option. If I go into that multi button here, I can't allocate that, so I can't have that sending sending the soft key 4 and switching to a folder. So I can't create my subfolder system. I've tried also to see if you can move that back arrow, because this is almost consistently back. You can't move that, you can't change that anywhere, you can't copy it, it's stuck there, so you can't make that a back button. So if all you want, if you're happy to have just the buttons with no labels on, then you can quite happily go with just a folder. But I wanted to have it so that as I move from one to the other, it would definitely have the labels on. And the way to do that is not to use folders, but to use profiles. If we go back here, we are going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 profiles. But it's not as bad as it looks, because they're all pretty much the same. That they are just a series of buttons, and they're all labelled softkey 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to 10, with a bit of multi-action for the ones that take us to submenus. So let's have a look at the best way of doing that. So what I want to do first of all is to create a template that we'll then copy down. So I'm going to call this my demo PFD template, and that's done. And let's go into my demo PDF template. It's completely blank apart from the free button they give you. So we'll get rid of that, we'll delete that. So as before, I'm going to create an Axis and O event. I can put the graphic on it. So I just drag my graphic across and drop that in there. It's still held on in my clipboard, so I've just copied and pasted that in there. So I know that's softkey 1. We'll submit that, and I'll edit out the wonderful section of doing this. I'm going to copy that button and paste it across. Okay, I'll see you later when I've put those in. Okay, so welcome back. I've edited out more copying, but copied and pasted and edited them. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll just checking I haven't missed any, and they're all there. Okay, so that's that done. And add these buttons here on the PDF, which I haven't allocated yet, direct to the menu flight plan. So I can put those onto here. So again, these will be events. And the first one there was direct to, so we'll put that in there. So we'll label that as direct. Just so we know what it is. In fact, I'll do it in caps lock. It stands up. Okay, so in Axes and O's, if we allocate that, still got the filter there, so apply that filter, and I want the direct to button. We'll copy that. And allocate that in. And next one is the menu button here. So if we drop it. Always remember to check that that's gone in. It's an HTML variable. It won't be there, but as standard. And they're in alphabetical order, so it's quite easy to find. It's the menu push. That goes into there. Ooh, got a bouncy keyboard. Okay. And the next one down. The flight plan, FPL. PL, there it is, and copy that. Procedures. And we've got clear and enter. So let's just load them up. That's clear. And it's not the long push, it's just the ordinary push here. So we'll put in the clear here. And then it was the enter here. Just a quick check that we've entered everything, haven't missed anything. That's okay. So that's my template sorted out. So what I want to do now is to go back and look here, and I need to copy these. So I've got my main one, Inset, PFD, etc. So I'm going to just copy, paste and rename all of those. And again, I'll probably edit that out. I'll just do one and then I'll edit it out so you don't have to watch me do that. Okay, so back in the Stream Deck, I'm going to duplicate that and then rename that as my main. Okay, I'm going to do the rest now, and you can come back when I've just duplicated that template a number of times. Okay, welcome back. So I've edited out me just duplicating that template exactly as it was and giving them a sensible name. So each one of those is just a series of blank buttons, and they're soft key 1 to 12. And the flight planning type buttons that I've added to it. So let's go in and start programming one of these up. So let's bring up our Stream Deck software. So I want to have the ability to get in a button here to get me into the main template. So let's put a switch profile there. I'll label it PFD for the moment. We can come back to that. And I want it to switch to the main profile. Now what's happened here is my list is so long that I've actually need this second column here. So it's going to switch to the PFD main when I click on here. So let's click on this on the there, and there it is. They're all functional, but I haven't got any text on them. Let's rearrange things here. So I want to have this one here, nothing on that one. This one here labelled Inset, And as I said, you don't need, when you put in text, you don't need to submit it, you just can go with it. So next one across is my PFD. So nothing there, it's blank. Next one is PFD. So, and next one across, OBS. And then CDI. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 buttons done. ADF DME. Transponder next. Oops. Transponder. Nothing on the next one. The time and my references onto this one. Nearest going onto this one. And then alerts. Okay, so they're all sorted. We know that this one here takes us to a submenu. So I wanted to do two things. I wanted to switch the profile to my inset profile, and I also, so it switches on here, and I also want to send the softkey to. So what I should do here is to move that to a multi-action. So the first action that's here, it's sending that, and I want it to switch profile at the same time. I want it to switch the profile to my inset profile. Okay, so let's go back and look at my multi-action. It's got the wrong icon on it, so I'm just going to drop my graphic onto it so it looks the same, and type the title again, inset. Okay, so that should work now. Let's have a look at it in action. So let's get back to the top. This button here is the inset button. It's changed to here. That's still blank because I haven't programmed that up yet, but it's working here. That's fine. That's taken me to there. And this button here should take me back, but of course I haven't done any work on this to take me back. It's working there. It hasn't changed the profile here yet. So let's address that one straight away. We're in the inset profile, and this is our back button. We don't really need to put it in, but I will just for completeness. There's my back. But this is going to be a multi-action. It's going to send the command back and also change the profile back. So let's move that to multi-action. That is sending softkey 11. That's great. And we also wanted to switch profile back to my main one. Again, icons changed. So we just drop that in here. Back. Okay, so let's label these up. Not very many to label here. So if we bring back our Stream Deck, and I'm in my inset profile, this one here should be off. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is topo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is topo. Six, 7, 8 is next rad. 6, 6, 7, 8. Back, I've done. So this last one here would be my alerts. So that one's done. So if we click on back here, that's taken us back to the top level. So again, looking here, it's the PFD I want to do next. So PFD should take us to this template here. So bring up my Stream Deck. So let's program up the PFD button, which is going to lead us into a submenu and then submenus after that. So again, it's a multi-action, so we'll move that into a multi-action, which is going to send soft key number 4 and a profile switch, and it's going to switch us to the PFD menu, and we'll update the icon. PFD. So we'll just check that out. So we clicked on the PFD button and it's taken us there. Let's program the back button in. We know straight away that number 11 is going to be our back button. That's fairly consistent. So we can move that to the multi-action, and this will switch us back to the main profile. We'll just check that it's working, make sure we're getting back okay. So back's taken us there, and PFD's taken us there. So that's okay. So let's put the text on the buttons. So once we're into PFD, nothing on the second one. Next one across is to wind. DME. Bearing 1. HSI format. Bearing 2's here. and then nothing until we get to back and alerts. Okay, so there's a submenu, and that's a submenu, and that's a submenu. It's got 3 submenus to program in. So let's do this one. Multi-action, switch profile to that one. This one. Don't really decide on this, but yeah, we'll put it in as we've started it. And HSI format. HIS format. Slightly mistitled, whoops, but it's invisible. Okay. You see it's visible, so make sure we get that one right. For it. Okay, so those are done. So let's move on to this one here. We'll program this one in. So click on here. And that's taken us to the submenu. And the submenu on that one there is here. And that's got nothing on the first button. SYN terrain on that one. I admit I've never used it, but I'm programming it for completeness. Then here we've got a multi-action back button. In fact, we don't even need to label it here. We can just go straight away and move it to multi-action. We know it's sending number 11, but we want to switch the profile. So it takes us back up to the PDF. So we're going to label it here as back. So get the graphic right. And that's back. So we can just check that out. There's the back button there. And that's taken us back there. Let's check the wind button out. That's taken us to the wind profile, that's correct, and the wind profile has nothing, option 1, nothing, option 1. Option 2. Option 3. Off. And then down here, back and alerts. Well, back we do the normal way. Move it to multi-action, switch the profile, going back to PDF. And label that one up as back, And this is again alerts. Okay, so let's go back. So that's that one done. HSI formats. Done. Okay. We're back on the main again. So we've got the transponder to do. And that's a multi-action, switching us to the transponder. And we're now in the transponder profile. So nothing on the first one, nothing on the second one. Standby on here. On. Altitude. Nothing on the next one. VFR. Code on this one. Ident on this one. Nothing, back and alerts. Nothing. Back. Alerts. Now the back button, of course, is the multi-action. Switching the profile back to main. And code, that's a multi-action. Switching us to the code input. We'll just press on code. That takes us through to the code. And that is 0. One, 2, 3. Very sticky key on that one. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, ident, backspace. The back button again is a multi-action, so we just go straight here, and that takes us back to the transponder. And alerts. Okay, so we just check. Back takes us back. Yep. Oh, that's an interesting misspelling. Let's tidy that up. Back. And we're back up at top level again. Okay, so let's just check it in action now then. Okay, so back in my flight simulator. So I need to get from here to there. So that takes us into the first menu, and we'll just check all the way across. This should do nothing. Inset should take us here. Topo, that's lighting up okay. Let's just shrink this a little bit if I can. Can I park it just high enough? No. No, it's really not very helpful. Okay. It's only so far you can shrink this window, and I think I've reached my limit with it. Yep, not going anywhere. Okay. Let's try it. Whatever NixRad does, it's lighting up, so it's going to certainly receive the message. We'll just check the alerts, but we know that's working. And back. It switched the profile here, and it's switched here. What we really need here is a way of getting back out. We've kind of entered into it, so I need to have a switch profile here to take us back to our main view. So I press on there, I'm back to all my switches again, so I can get in and I can get out. Okay, so that worked. Primary flight display, SynVision, that takes us in okay. Turns the rain on and off, and that's really all that does. So we can take ourselves back out. Done. Wind, change my options, take it back. Bearing 1, that's working fine. That cycles through. HSI format. Oh, I didn't program this one up. Okay, that's why we check. So I've got on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That one should be my 360. This one here should be my arc. and all that's left is back and alerts. Okay, so let's go back. That's working fine. Oh, it's taken us back to the wrong one. Should have taken us back to PDF. So let's go back into HSI. Same in the Stream Deck software. Just check that out again. So pick up my HSI from here, and this back. There's two actions, and it's taken us to the wrong profile. Okay, so we just check that out again. Let's come out of here, back. Yep, and these are matching up, so that's okay. That was my HSI format. Bearing 2. Yeah, that's working. So we're cycling through there. And we're back. And the other one, the submenu with a transponder, which takes us into there. We can input the code. Yep. And we can go back. And back again. So everything seems to be working there. Just want to check the OBS is working. And that's working. That one was the odd one because that one had a legacy that came up and we could actually see that one working. So we'll just check that's okay. And while we're here, we'll have a quick look and make sure that these buttons here, so direct, that's working. Yep. And menu. So yeah, those buttons there work. So we've got a way in and out. Could do with a bit of a fancy icon for that one there. So let's see what I've got here. I've got a screenshot that I took of the PFD, and that will be nice for the icon to get into it. And I would probably take a screenshot of the entire cockpit and drop it on there. And I've got one hidden somewhere in my system. I'll find that later. But anyway, I think you've got the idea of what I was doing here. So let's come out of here. The last thing I do actually with mine is I'd like it to switch the focus, the view as well. So what I've done with mine is made that a multi-action. So it switches the profile, but it also does a hotkey for me. And I think, if I remember rightly, it was Control 1, but I can't be sure. Let's find out. So when I press on here, let's change the icon again on it. No, obviously the wrong hotkey. I can't remember what the hotkey was. Let's have a look if I can work it out. Yeah, Control 1. Let's have a look and see if I can program that again. Just Control 1. Oh, that's worked that time. So, and also when I come back out, I would like to go back to my main view. So make it a multi-action, so it switches the profile. And we assign control space to it. So that's what I want to do there. So control 1 takes me in, control space takes me back out. To observe my keystrokes, control space. So now that should take me and change the view. It's because you have to have the input focus, because it is a keystroke. So we'll do that again. So the changing view isn't always reliable, because you do need to have the input focus. That's out and that's back in, but it kind of works. Okay, I think that's it for this video. Quite a long one. It's going to take a lot of editing to make it attractive to you. I'll see you later.